It is most difficult to write a reflection and to deliver it in vivo when everyone just wants to catch up on sleep. As a teacher of theology, as a spiritual guide to many over the past so many years of priesthood, and as a pastoral counselor supposedly trained to be an empathic listener, and to be a co-pilgrim to others who are longing to find God in all things, and to see meaning even behind pain and suffering, I find myself on familiar territory in which so many otherwise good women and men, honest in their search for God and His will, find themselves in these days. That territory, hallowed by so many personal stories of pain and suffering, is littered these days by so many whys. I have not sat on this reflection to give answers. I have decided to set out on this task not so much to search for answers as to search for the God who may or may not give the cut and dried answers that we all may be expecting. I have set out on this written reflection to be a co-pilgrim with those who may be caught in the rough, difficult terrain that our life as pilgrims is all about. It pays at this difficult time to be reminded that such was exactly the condition surrounding the Jews referred to in the first reading, taken from the book of Numbers. They were a pilgrim people themselves, on the difficult march towards the promised land. They were themselves passing through the uncharted and rough terrain, where questions superseded quick and easy answers, a time when all that motivated them was the steadfast promises of a God who delivered them all right, but who did not exactly lead them to a road paved in gold. Today, the first day of the new year, the day that starts out with a solemnity in honor of Mary, the Mother of God, the Mother of Jesus, who is Son of God, starts out not with definitive answers, but with continuing assurances from a God who journeys with His suffering people, a God who walks with us in our pain and sorrows in Jesus Christ, His Son, born of Mary, whose heart was pierced with sorrow as much as it was filled with joy. Said assurances come in the form of blessings. These blessings are not like gift cards that can easily be redeemed at will. They are not assurances of a comfortable, trouble-free existence, but only assurances of His loving presence, assurances of His walking with and journeying with His people. It is well worth remembering as well that God's presence in the time of Moses, symbolized by fire by night and cloud by day, was never an insurance against frustrations, defeats, and discouragement. The formula of the blessing has an intensely personal ring to it. It addresses not us in general, but you. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord let His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you kindly and give you peace. They sound repetitive and redundant. Rightly so, for what they really promise is one and the same thing: God's peace. It is not something that makes life more comfortable and more fulfilled materially speaking. The blessings all refer to the ultimate grace that makes life worth living, the loving presence of the Prince of Peace, who has not only pitched His tent in our midst, but who also walks with us through the vicissitudes of daily life. The story of the chosen people, the stories of frustrations, disappointments, and discouragement, even of great leaders like Moses, Aaron, and the kings and the prophets of old, all have one common unifying thread. They all gloried not on cut and dried answers to questions, but on the assurances of God's presence all the way, come hell or high water. I am reminded once again of a personal experience I had even before my pastoral counseling days. A son of a good friend suddenly died of a senseless, tragic death through a freak accident that could have been prevented if only people took the necessary precautions. During the wake, I went to condole with the grieving parents. I just sat down with them, held the couple's hands for a long while, and said nothing for an hour or two. When I stood up to say goodbye, the father started crying and told me, "Father, of all the priests who came here, you are the one whose presence we appreciate the most. The others have come to take away our pain. You have come to simply acknowledge our pain and walk with us as we go through this most painful event of our lives." The others have come with easy answers. That was not what they were looking for there were no ready answers to a basically senseless death of a 15-year-old boy in the prime of his life. All they wanted was the assurances that life was still worth living, with God and people around to share that pain and journey with them through all that pain. People in pain don't need presence to assuage that pain. People in pain simply need presence. Today, on the solemnity of Mary, Mother of God, the first day of the new year that was ushered in by images and realities of untold suffering for tens of thousands in 9 countries and thousands in the Philippines who did not even have the chance to finish off the year in Christmas celebration, the Lord offers us His loving presence in Christ, given to us through the cooperation of Mary, His mother. When the fullness of time had come, God sent His Son, born of a woman, born under the law, to ransom those under the law, so that we might receive adoption as sons. Today's solemnity is a reminder among many to a people walking in the darkness of misery, the darkness of momentary loss of trust in God's love, the darkness of resentment against a God who seems to be absent just when He is needed most, who seems not to care, who seems to be powerless before natural calamities. His answer is not one born of a brilliant syllogism and empty rhetoric. His answer is simply one assuring you of His presence. "Fear not, it is I." He tells us to invoke His name, to print God's name onto everything and everyone. Where God's name is invoked and printed, God's presence is assured. Whoever has God's name printed on him or her, thereby belongs to God. Forever, in always, and for always, may God bless us in His mercy. There is no polar express to the North Pole of our ultimate longings, which is heaven. There is no magic train to take us and our dreams to a faraway place filled with laughing and eternally joyful elves that are there to fill our lives with presents. But today's feast reminds us there is indeed a heaven, the sacred object of our ultimate longings. But before we get to that sacrum, the sacred place, where there will be no longer tears, no crying, nor pain, we must walk the path of the agrum, the rough, uncharted territory of temporary exile, the valley of tears. That is our pilgrim's lot in this life and in this world. It is the pilgrim's lot to go per agrum ad sacrum, through the fields to the sacred, ad astra per aspera, to the stars through the thorns and briars of life. Forrest Gump, in his wit and wisdom, would have understood this very well. No pain, no gain, no guts, no glory. And as Tom Hanks' character in Polar Express would remind the child, in each and every one of us, we need to lead, learn, and believe. If we do, something more than just an elfin paradise of presence and mirth awaits us all. Beyond the pain, beyond the questionings, beyond the arctic cold of suffering, beyond the stars where there will be no more crying, no more tears, no more pain, may God bless us in His mercy. Happy New Year to one and all from your Kalakbay at Katoto.